If you think you have just nothing left to learn from us...
No, it is not that, really. I just, gotta eat.
Well, when you get hungry enough, you're gonna figure it out.
Do you mean like physically hungry or like hungry for the job?
Hey everybody, this is the first episode of Boys Watching Girls. We are your hosts. I am Joe Welke.
I am Vance Tucker.
We're just two little tiny boys watching. We are pop culture junkies. We see movies together all the time. We watch TV shows together all the time. We watch sports all the time. We decided to start a podcast watching a show that we have no knowledge about. And we're going to talk about every single episode of this show. And this is about the first episode, Pilot.
The show we're watching is Girls.
The show we're watching is Girls, yes.
You didn't get it already.
If you didn't get it from the name of the thing.
Which could be misconstrued. But no, we're just guys watching girls, but boys.
But boys, because I don't know.
I gotta say, I had no preconceived notion. Like, I've known of Girls. I've never seen it, but, like, I've known of it. I did not watch it because I didn't like it or anything. I wasn't like, oh, man, this show. Or I have no Lena Dunham, like, qualms. I know the stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, I have no, like, feeling going into the show.
See,
it's like a blank slate for me.
The only stuff that I knew, what I knew about Girls is that when it first came out, every woman that I know enjoyed it and said it was, like, realistic about, like, women's friendships and stuff, and that Lena Dunham is always naked in it.
I did hear about that, yeah.
I knew that about it.
Which is why you wanted to, like, watch that.
Yeah, that's why we needed a deep dive in this to watch. But I feel like this series just took so many turns, because I remember people really enjoyed Lena Dunham when this show first came out.
Yeah.
And then, it turned a corner where everyone just hated her.
Yeah, it had one of those,
and it was within the span of this show.
Yeah. It had one of those, like, not quite at the level of Game of Thrones turns, but, like, at that moment where people were like, I love this show, to, like, this is not what I signed up for.
Yeah. There was some kind of turn. I don't know when it happens, but I'm sure we'll figure it out because we're watching.
I'm excited to see if we get... I wonder if it's time-based since we're watching it now.
Yeah.
Like, and this was, like, a weekly show, pre-streaming.
Yeah, it was everyone binge watching everything.
So, yeah, I don't know.
This is our first exposure to the show Girls. I've never watched an episode of it. You've seen like a half an episode of one or something.
I've seen the one controversial one. I think it'll be interesting when we get to that. That'll be a fun one to try to make a podcast of.
But until then, we are starting from the very beginning of Girls with Lena Dunham's very first episode. Episode is titled Pilot. It's directed by Lena Dunham. It is written by Lena Dunham. It came out originally on April 15th in 2012 with 0.87 million viewers.
It's big.
So 800,700 viewers. What did you think about this episode? Let's go through what goes on in this in the pilot.
Okay. Overall thoughts, you're saying? Or just like start from that? Let's just start from the beginning.
Let's start from the beginning.
And
then we'll finish up with our overall thoughts about this, okay? So the show starts out with Lena Dunham scarfing down some spaghetti.
Yeah.
That is the very first thing you see.
Yeah.
Is she's in a restaurant with her parents scarfing down some spaghetti.
And her dad's scarfing down food too. They're both...
But the first image is like...
Yeah.
A person eating from a trough. It was just like, I have this rule that if I ever go on a first date with someone, I will never order anything like that, like spaghetti.
Any slurping.
Yeah, so because there's no attractive way to eat that. You're just always going to end up with noodles dangling from your mouth and not knowing how to deal with it.
Or that half chew where you have to like bite it off and like put it back. Yeah.
Exactly.
I've never mastered the spoon and fork situation.
Yeah, I don't understand the spoon and fork thing. Somebody told me about that. I was like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, dude.
We ain't fancy.
Yeah.
Boys watching girls.
So, boys watching girls, baby. So that's the first image of this show is her with noodles dangling from her mouth. And I was like, oh man, that's already so gross. Like anyone eating that is so disgusting to me. And then they proceed to have the conversation that is basically the crux of this show, which is her parents are cutting her off. She's been supported by her mom and dad, who are professors, apparently.
Yeah. I'm assuming at a college.
They must
professors?
They must have tenure or something, because professors aren't that rich, are they?
No, you make decent money being an academic. Yeah.
Well, they've been supporting their daughter she's 24 years old. They said that she's like 2 years out of college.
Yeah, supporting her for 2 years, so paying for pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Probably paid for college,
Well,
too.
because she has an internship, which is that.
That's a whole nother bag.
That's
of
a
things.
whole bag of things going on. Like
that's the one thing I will not fault her character for.
Yes, that's exactly what
she has a full-time job basically, but under the guise of free labor internship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was
so
much of this episode. I did not feel sorry for her, and even, especially during this conversation with her parents, it was just painful to watch her just coming up with all these excuses and being like, "What? I need money, and if I don't have this money, blah 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 blah." And then her mom is like, "No, get a job."
Yeah.
And part of me is like, "Yeah, get a job," but part of me is also understanding of she has an internship, and people are fucking taking advantage of people so much in the world these days.
I mean, there's the big thing right now with the assistants in Hollywood and just not the minimum wage pay for the amount of work they're doing, because this is your stepping zone.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity. And
it's so unjust. And that is the one thing that I was like, this is the most sympathetic that I have ever felt towards a character.
It wasn't like her character wasn't working. It wasn't like she was just sitting at home.
Yeah. It's not like she was
writing in the shadow. Like she was going to work.
She was working for a publishing company because or whatever. But God, she seemed so ungrateful during that conversation. It wasn't so it's been 2 years, and I understand having the rug pulled out from under you. Yeah. That would be very jarring, but she had no sense of gratitude.
Well, you would have to wonder if the parents have ever tried to hint towards it, or if they were just coddled. Because I had a roommate once that was just I won't go into too many details, but she was super spoiled by the parents, and it's if they would have done that, she would have flipped out and just lost her shit.
Yeah.
But I wonder if the parents of Hannah and girls would, if they ever brought it up, because obviously the mom probably had, but the dad was such an enabler.
Yeah, the dad seemed like a real big pushover, and she's a daddy's girl.
Yeah, you could see that. Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, I just want to make her," but my God, it was hard to feel any kind of sympathy for her when she's having that conversation with her family. I don't know.
But I will say it's a real character. I will give it that much, that it is.
Yeah. No, we know people like that.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a realistic character, but it's just not a likable one.
Not a likable one.
So then, the next scene, we go to her apartment, Lena Dunham's apartment. Her character, what's her name? Character? Hannah. We go to her apartment where she meets up with our introduction to...
No, does she wake up? Is it her waking up in bed with her roommate? Right?
Yes.
She wakes up in bed.
She wakes up in bed with her roommate, who is Allison Williams, whose character's name is Marnie.
Marnie, yeah.
Character's name is Marnie. The reason that
But you'll know from Get Out.
Yeah, you'll know she's great in Get Out. The reason why I'm so questioning, I don't know their characters' names, because they don't say their names for so long.
They definitely said Marnie came up later. They said Marnie early, but I wasn't sure which one was Marnie. But
I was just like, okay, well, who is this person? And then she had her boyfriend there, and I was just like, who's this guy? What's going on? Why are they waking up together?
I love the waking up together to be like, is she a lesbian? I knew they were just throwing that hint. I didn't, from everything I've heard about the show, I know that I don't know if she hooks up with girls at all in the show, but I know that she's not predominantly a lesbian in the show. So I was like, okay, this is something, but I wasn't sure what was what,
Yeah, and then they immediately go to the kitchen, and Marnie doesn't like her boyfriend for some reason. She wants to break up with him.
he seems awful.
Yeah, he seems like a real real goober. Like like when they were talking about like when they first go out there and he's like trying to be sweet to her and stuff, I was like, oh, and then she's like, I just don't like him anymore.
Yeah.
I got that.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
There have been relationships that I've had where you're like dating the person and you're just like, there's no real reason why you don't like them, but you just don't like them.
I feel like that's and that's one of those moments where you're like, I just gotta get out of this one before it gets too deep.
Yeah.
Because then you get to a point where it switches, and because there's no real reason to leave, you're too deep in that you just don't leave because you're in that comfort zone.
And you're married for 10 years. You got 2 kids.
And you're like, he's nice though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but the weird part about where this conversation takes place is they're in a tub together.
No, I think we're skipping over a big thing.
What are we skipping
The
over?
magnets on the fridge freezer
yeah.
section. It was the weirdest distracting thing. Like they have like 1 million magnets on the top freezer section of the fridge. None on the fridge door. It's like a freezer top.
That was incredibly distracting.
And it was just like, and I'm sure it was there for some reason. I don't know what.
Show how quirky they are.
I wonder if this season's magnets will slowly move down the fridge. I don't know. I'm going to be watching the fridge the whole thing.
Like the OCD in me was satiated, but also very annoyed. It's like, spread that out. There's so much real estate for you to take it
know.
So, yeah, that was before they get to.
Yeah.
So then Marnie and Hannah are in a tub together. And I don't.
Marnie's shaving her legs. So that's why I think the shower's running.
It didn't look like she had any like shaving cream on or anything, but they're having the conversation of like Marnie being like, "Oh, I don't really like him anymore," and then Hannah's just like eating a cupcake in the tub, which, dude,
we get it. Like they're playing up the like weight issue.
Yeah.
She eats
well, that was like a conversation that they had where they're like, "Oh, I'm the fat baby angel and she's the Victoria's Secret angel." It's just like, oh my god.
It's just weird that Hannah is in the shower, and she's just kind of sitting in it, leaning over the side of the tub. Like, they're not both just shaving legs in there. She's like eating a cupcake and having small talk in a bathroom.
Well, I didn't know if she was like washing herself. Were they both in the shower together washing themselves, or why are they naked if they're not? And then, like, Hannah's demanding to see Marnie's boobs. Yeah. She's like, I never see you naked. Show me your boobs. She's like, I only show my boobs to people that I'm having sex with. She's like, that's bullshit. You see me naked all the time. Yeah. It's like, this is weird.
I'm assuming she would have seen her boobs because they're in the shower together.
Yeah, like, did she come in naked? And then, of course, the boyfriend walks in. He's like, oh, sorry.
One of 2 times he walks into the bathroom.
Yeah, why is this dude always walking on people?
He's walking in on 2 girls in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Too many times in this shit.
Yeah, like, knock, number one. Yeah. Like, even if it was... So he was like, oh, I thought it was just Marnie was in here alone. It's like, even if it was, you knock. What are you gonna do in there?
You don't know what position she's in.
Hold a curtain back and spy on her.
Yeah,
there was just no soap involved, and it was like, why are they both doing this?
I think I'd be more confused if I went into the bathroom expecting just my girlfriend to be there, and she's in there eating a cupcake with her roommate. I'm like, you fell asleep with her last night, and now you're eating a cupcake in the shower together.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go.
He's like, you're eating cupcake, you slept together, this show is named Girls. He's just so aware that he's living.
He's like, I'm in an HBO show.
He's the Deadpool of the Girls universe.
But, so that happens. That basically just sets up that, like...
Maybe I just hate watching people eat, because... She was eating spaghetti and I hated it.
That cupcake.
She was eating that cupcake. It looked disgusting.
I wanted the cupcake. I was afraid it was going to get wet. Wet pastries are disgusting, but
I don't know, man. But then, so that happens, and like that was when I was like, okay, I understand Allison Williams' plight with her boyfriend. Yeah. She's like, I just don't want to even have him touch me anymore. Yeah, because like there have been things where it's like it's going well. There's no reason for me to not like this person, but the sight and like the idea of even hanging out with them just sickens me. And they're like perfectly sweet.
Well, I've recently caught up on Insecure, and like without giving a lot away, there's a lot of that like Marnie boyfriend stuff going on in that show. So like I kind of feel like this situation is going to be the same, where like this was going to be an ongoing thing.
Yeah, it's going to be an ongoing, because also the difficulty of breaking up with someone is so hard, especially when there's no reason to.
No reason to. And he's just there.
He's just there trying to be, but then he gets, okay. Yeah. Well, so then after that, after the tub scene, which is very confusing, I hope that's not like a recurring thing in this series, but I have a feeling it might be. I have a feeling just chicks hanging out in tubs together, eating in the tubs, drinking wine. That's when you get the reveal. We go over to the British lady and the dumb girl. And the reason why I'm calling that, because I don't know their names at this point. The only reason I do know their names is because I looked them up, and it's Jessa and Shoshana. Yeah. Shoshana, in my opinion, is the dumb girl. She's like ditzy. She's not dumb. She's ditzy. Yeah, seemingly ditzy. And Shoshana is greeting her British friend. I don't know if they're friends or cousins or what.
I think they're related somehow. Yeah. Because she's like, this is my family member.
You're
my family member
that
has a
British cousin. So they are cousins. And so far, the British, when this scene happens, the British girl seems like the most likable person in this show, because she's like, I'm not on Facebook. I've never seen Sex in the City. And I was like, okay.
I thought it was funny to have the I'm not on Facebook in 2012, like, joke.
I mean, that was a big deal.
Like, yeah, it's like I'm not on Instagram.
Like, now it'd be like if it was Instagram. Yeah. But the part that I took away from this scene is that Shoshana names everyone in the cast of Sex in the City. And
there's a Sex in the City poster.
There's a Sex in the City poster. Nice SpawnCon for HBO old series. Yeah. But I know the names of everyone in Sex in the City before I know the names of everyone in Girls.
Well, but to be fair, Sex and the City has been like a cultural like icon for like so long.
Yeah, but I don't know what any of these people's names are.
And you've never seen Sex and the City?
I've seen like 2 episodes.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess more people have like talked. It's like knowing all the Friends people. Yeah. Like, you know, Joey, Chandler, Monica, like whether or not you like the show or not.
I just feel like they were bad at like the intros for the characters, because like people would just show up and like I don't know who that is or how they're related. Like Shoshana,
I'm only upset about it just because we're doing a podcast. I need to know their names. Otherwise, I would not care about what their names are.
Exactly. And Shoshana doesn't interact with anyone else except for the British girl. Like, that's her only scene.
Yeah. I was wondering, because I was like, I know there's 4 girls. That's the one thing I knew about the show. There was 4 of them. And I was surprised she didn't come to the dinner party at the end. Yeah. I thought that she would have been, because I'm interested how they're friends with the British cousin. Which one is that?
Jessa, yes.
How are they friends with Jessa, but not like friends with her cousin that they're staying with? You know what I mean? Like,
that's true. How come she wasn't invited to the
party? We'll figure that out.
Well, maybe it's because she's like the ditzy one, and they just don't respect her because they're all so intellectual. I'm a writer.
I have a weird feeling that she might end up being one of my favorite people.
The ditzy girl?
Yeah. I feel like she's just gonna be like the one that like has to be like the weird voice of like social reason.
Yeah.
Like, or like she'll say something or like, you know, you can also just like eat a slice of pizza and not judge it, or something like. She'll say something like so like mundane that it's just like.
Yeah, it seems like it'll be like something where like Hannah will be like, no, I can't enjoy that because I have all this job stuff and I have blah blah blah. Yeah. And then she'll just be like, why can't you just eat a piece of candy? Yeah. Candy's good.
Yeah.
And then Lena Dunham will like eat too much candy and I'll have to watch it and then it'll be gross just watching her eat.
I'm excited to watch you deal with all your food horrors.
Yeah, just dude. That spaghetti scene was so gross to me.
It was like 2 seconds.
So yeah, when we get to that, that's our intro to those 2 characters, the Sex and the City talk, and then the girl not being on Facebook. That's all we know about her. She's from England or Britain or whatever. Mm-hmm. She's got an accent. And then I feel like I may have skipped over it because I kind of like, I took very sparse notes.
Yeah, I mean, this shows. I think most people they're listening to this. They're either curious about the show or they've seen it already.
Yeah, and they're gonna be like, well, let's see what these guys.
Yeah.
So the next thing I have is like her at her internship, Hannah at the internship, and it seems like her friends are trying to convince her like, hey, you need to talk to the guy to get paid.
Yeah, because they have that little walk and talk.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they have the walk and talk.
They go buy water.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was a good point. She's been at that internship for a year.
Yeah.
And she's like, and this is like the insidious bullshit that internships do. I've only had one internship, and I never had to. It was like in between semesters of college, so I didn't really have to deal with this. But where they have the promise of getting to a full-time position. Yeah. And then when you throw down the gauntlet of, hey, I've been here a year, like when is this going to materialize? Yeah. Then they're like, oh, we can't really afford to be doing that and stuff. So that was where I was the most in Hannah's corner.
Like I get internships when they're like, here's an internship for college credit. Yeah. Where they're like, hey, you're still got to be in school for us to accept you for this internship. But still with that, it's great because you're in college and you're getting experience because you need experience for the job.
Yeah, you're getting experience
but
and
you're
credit.
Still not going to, when you graduate, be able to work for that place unless you're like exceed with your abilities, or else they're just going to take a next college person to have more free work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what, like, so she graduated from college. She's 24. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't understand how that's legal. The internship after college for a year.
Yeah. I think the well, I don't know the legality of it, I'm sure, but if they're stating up front, hey, you're not getting paid for the job and you accept to keep coming into it. Yeah. It's not like you're working a job and they just decide they're not paying you and you just keep coming in. You know you're not getting paid. Yeah, and but it's with the promise of that dangling thing at the end of the thing. But
so her confrontation with the boss was so awful to watch. Like I thought it was a great scene. It was a great scene. It was great, but it just took me back to like, oh, dude, applying to jobs and interviewing and all that stuff is just the worst. And like being in that position where you have no leg to stand on because like he's not paying you, there's no investment in you, and he can just like walk away. I was just that was such.
I just love. He's like, if you get hungry enough, you'll figure out. You're like literally hungry or hungry enough for the job. I was like, that's like perfect.
Yeah, that was a good line. Yeah. That scene was perfect. Yeah. With like how good it represents like this is just how bad it is out there.
And you hired the other girl because she knows Photoshop. It's great.
Yeah, dude. Like that other girl got hired after her. That was
I mean that's and I think that's part of why people like if people are into this show is because it has those like little slice of life things that you're not gonna get from like a show about older people. Like,
like Sex and the City.
Yeah, like they're fully adults and like she's getting paid to write a blog in
she's
a bedroom.
A successful blogger. Like what?
She's a blogger and she makes so much money. But yeah.
So she's there. That scene's great. I love that scene. Yeah. That was the most, I was like, yeah, Hannah, you got to stand up for yourself. And then she did, and then she got shit on. And it was like, yeah, that sucks. And then, so she leaves that job. She's walking around. And then we get our first intro to
Mr. Adam Driver.
Mr. Adam Driver, who what's his name in the show? I think it's Adam.
It's Adam.
Yeah. His name, well, I'm just going to call him Adam Driver in case his name
is Adam. His name's Adam. They said Adam.
And you get it? Yeah, he opens the door. He's shirtless with his weird man body.
So I've only seen him in the Star Wars movies and Black Klansman. I think those are the only movies I've seen him in. And I remember in Last Jedi, it was like this crazy thing when he was shirtless.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, oh, okay. I guess he's never shirtless. Mm-hmm. First
time you see him.
Shirtless.
You
know, obviously not doing that like super budget movie bod yet, like not doing the workout, but he's literally just shirtless.
Well, he doesn't look. He has such a weird body because he has like abs, but it doesn't look like he works out. Like, he doesn't have, like, a chest or arms or anything.
It's just a dude that's shirtless.
Yeah, his
at
body
this point.
confused me.
Yeah.
And also what confused me is his voice. Dude, his voice is so weird.
I had so many different feelings about his character throughout this scene.
Yeah, dude.
Like, it was the strange. I was like, wow, he's an asshole. Wow, she's kind of frustrating, and he's like, can't put up with it. Oh, dude, you're really creepy. That's not a right joke to make. Like, it was the range of emotions I had. Like, I don't know what to.
Yeah, that was just the most uncomfortable scene to
It was
me.
the most abusive, non-abusive relationship situation that I've ever. I guess we should dive into what actually happens. But,
Yeah, so she walks in, he's shirtless. She's like explaining that she got fired from her job, which I was like, did you get fired?
And he goes, weren't you an intern? Like,
Yeah.
he calls her out on it, which is
bursts
mean
her
and
bubble
funny and a
immediately.
weird. Yeah, like, so you still don't know where you're at yet.
Yeah. At that point, I was like, okay, he's just like ribbing her or whatever. He's like,
Yeah.
weren't you an intern? But so then she's like explaining. Then she's like, can I sit down?
Yeah.
It's like, and he's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been my reaction. I would have been like, why don't you just sit down? Like,
And it was weird how he sat down like on the chair, like he goes
he did,
on
like,
to
the
the chair
old
and he
school
sits like
cool
with
teacher.
the reverse way in the chair and just like, but the chair had all this stuff on it, like
yeah.
interesting.
It was very bizarre. And his haircut looks really stupid. And he's just, he's got like this weird voice. Like, I never watched, obviously, I've never watched the show. And I've only seen him in Star Wars. So I thought that they were like putting effects on his voice to make him seem more intimidating, but that's just his voice.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre.
They had a laugh that happens early that seemed like it was taken from another scene in like 80 yard in or something. I don't know. But yeah. So yeah, they're there.
They're there. They're talking about our internship for a little bit, and then he's just like a sexual deviant or something.
Well, they go to the couch. They both go to the couch and they're sitting. The way he sits on the couch and crosses his leg towards her is so funny to me. Like, could you like, they're probably gonna hook up just because show and.
Yeah, I mean,
stuff,
that's like his role in the show,
Yeah.
and like that's what he's known as, like the guy that she bangs. But the conversation leading up to it is just so. And then he's like talking about internships. He's like, you shouldn't be a slave for anyone.
His grandma gives him $800 a month, and he supplements off of that. So it's like, okay, yeah, he's doing woodwork. He's an actor, but not acting. So he's also. Those people, like, I've met him.
Yeah.
I know him. Like,
Nothing about his character makes me like him, makes me sympathetic towards him, except for that one zinger that he had.
Yeah.
And then they start to, like, hook up, and he's just, like, a weirdo.
Yeah.
And he's like, lay down on your stomach and grab your legs, and now take all of this shit off.
Yeah,
I'm going to get it. And she's like, are you going to get a condom? He's like, maybe.
And I was like, ooh.
Bro.
Yeah, I'm like, Hannah, make sure that he has that. You just are complaining about not having a jobby job.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to have a baby.
Yeah.
Like,
and then he comes back and he's like,
it's the funniest because he tells her to take off her clothes and she stays in the same position lying down. And it has to just be for comedic.
That had to be for comedic effect.
His reaction when he comes out, and he's like, oh God.
Yeah.
Like, why are you? And he just, the way it's like so aggressively wrong.
Why are you choosing to make this the most difficult thing?
And he just like yanks her like stockings off,
Yeah.
like so aggressively, but like so frustrated. It was like weird. Are you like a creepster, Avis, or are you just like, what? No, that's not what I want.
Yeah,
but then the sex part starts happening. Like he puts on a condom.
She's like, did you put on a condom? And he goes, no. And then she's like, are you serious? And he goes, yes, I put on a condom.
Yeah.
And then he immediately starts trying to fuck her butt.
Yeah.
Which she's like, I'm not cool with this.
Yeah, which I was
also, hold on, pause. The lead up to this, she's like still having a conversation with him about like her writing and like the sun is.
Oh, there's a line that she said.
Yeah.
Before they even like start hooking up. I like you so much, I don't know where you disappear to.
Yeah,
he's like, is that? And then she says something later.
She says something like, the sun is going down so early these days. I don't know where it goes. And then he's like, so is that one of your poems or something?
Yeah. So it's like moments like that where I'm like, okay, I kind of get his like weird like are we gonna just come over and hook up? Because I think that's what this relationship is.
Yeah.
But now we're talking about like this stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
and that happens before he disappears to get the condom and lube.
yeah. Because he wanted to try banging her butt.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've been in that relationship before where like the girl obviously wants to talk about something else, and our only relationship prior to that point was us just hooking up.
Yeah.
So then when they come over and they're not wanting to hook up and they're just like want to talk to somebody, I understand that.
Yeah. He thinks she just popped in for a midday bang session probably.
Yeah, and then she's talking about like
and it seems like he doesn't know how to talk.
You know,
he also isn't the person she should ever try to talk to.
Oh no, this guy has like no support at all. He's like, now that we're talking this out, I've come around to feeling sympathetic for her in this because she's going through a lot of emotions.
Yeah.
Like her parents just cut her off. She just lost her internship, and she obviously likes this guy at least a little bit.
Yeah.
Or
I think she wants to get.
She just wants a human connection.
Yeah. And plus, he's kind of like. I'm fascinated by his character too. Like maybe she just has that thing as a writer where she's just like, this guy is so strange and interesting. Like I kind of want to like dig deeper into like how this guy works. Yeah. I'm so like not. He's like woodworking and an actor, but like he calls her out on her bullshit, but also is like weird. Like Yeah.
So then he tries to do her butt.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Don't do that," which. You shouldn't
allow. I was happy she like before like he told her to do all this stuff and she did it all, and then now when she was like drawing the line, I was like, okay.
Yeah, we got a first taste of Lena Dunham butt, which was nice.
I mean side butt. We didn't get full. We
didn't see crack. Yeah. We also see Adam Driver's side butt.
Yep.
So yeah, then they start doing it, and she keeps talking, and it's awkward as hell. And then he's just like, "Hey, let's play the quiet game."
That's a terrible Adam Driver, by the way.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. His voice is just so weird.
Maybe you can get it later. But.
Maybe 50 episodes in, I'll probably have it.
But yeah, she's like talking to him about like just random stuff.
Well, it was
what was she
after he tried to put it in her butt.
Yeah.
She was like, "Look, this whole time she's getting fucked.
Yeah.
She's like, "Look, I just don't feel comfortable doing that right now.
Yeah.
And like maybe later on, but I feel like I would want to talk about it afterwards, and like I'm just not in the place to do it." And then he's like, "Okay, fine, I'm not doing it." Yeah. And then she's like, "So do you want me to move more? Do you want me to like move less? So like should I be more this way? Should I be?" And then that's when he was just like, "Just shut up."
Like, this is fine. This is fine. Like because it makes you wonder what their other sexual encounters were like.
Yeah, she should have expected this.
Well,
Allison Williams later on in the show calls him an animal.
Yeah.
So he must be up to some kind of like weird, freaky stuff.
Yeah, because it's interesting from what we've heard about the show that it's like Lena Dunham's gonna be naked all the time and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But she's not the sexual forward person in that scene.
Yeah.
Like you would think her sexual she opens with wanting to see her roommate's boobs.
Yeah.
Like you would expect her to be like more
aggressive. Get over here and fuck me.
Yeah.
But she's more like, well, I mean, in that scene, I understand why she wouldn't be, because she's just like, I just lost everything.
Yeah.
Just fuck me.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't expect her to be like, is this good? Is that good? Like,
yeah, that's true.
Unless she's playing that role. But, I mean, we're only one
also,
episode.
Also, no foreplay at all. Just jumped right into trying to fuck her butt.
Just right in.
Yeah, not even going to try and no foreplay at all.
No, just went for it.
That was the least realistic thing. Even though, I mean, I'm not a girl, I don't know. But, I don't know, man. Your boy's always trying to put in some foreplay.
You could argue that he had slipped, but no, he was going for lube for that reason.
He said going for lube.
Yeah, and she
for
said
a
why.
surprise.
And she said why.
She said why, and he was like, "You'll see."
Yeah.
Get out of here, bro. Get out of here, bro.
Exactly.
We all know what you're up to.
Yeah.
She knew what he was up to.
All right, but we got to move on from this.
We got to move on, because then after that is the dinner party, which I felt like was the most inconsequential thing ever.
Oh, yeah. So the dinner party is happening, and, like, Marnie is so upset that her roommate isn't there, which I forgot that the dinner party was for Jessa.
I thought it was, too. I thought it was just, like, a group get-together.
Yeah, because, I didn't even know they knew she was in town.
We also skipped over the part where Charlie Marnie's boyfriend is like kissing her, and he's like, "What do you want to do? Like, what's your sexual fantasy?" And she's like, "If you were a stranger," which is like very telling. It's like, and he's like kissing her, and he's like, "Well, what does that mean? What does that mean?" And she was like, "If you were just someone else." I was like, "Damn, dude."
Like, it's no subtlety.
Yeah,
in that.
no subtlety at all. And he's just like, "Whatever, I'm going for it." And then the doorbell rings, and then the dinner party commences, and
the coolest guy in the world shows up with this girl.
Yeah, with his big blue green orbs walking down the street. Ugh,
They're just my eyes.
That was so painful. That was awful. That guy was an idiot.
I did love when my favorite line in that scene is like when they're somehow talking about like sex, and like we know that she's not sleeping with her boyfriend. Marnie's not sleeping with her boyfriend, and he's like, maybe he's just happy about the friend says something. Maybe he's just happy someone's getting.
He needs some motivation. Yeah. He's happy to hear about somebody having sex.
And then she says, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Oh, he's just being motivational." The boyfriend says,
he's just being motivational. It's like,
so,
damn, everybody knows this guy's not getting laid.
And it's just like, it's like not going over no subtlety at all. Just going hard for it.
Yeah, I mean the introduction of that guy's character was just the least subtle thing ever. He's like he's a dummy.
Yeah.
I think his name was Ray.
I don't know what his name was.
Charlie's friend.
Yeah.
With the green orb girlfriend.
So Charlie is Marnie's boyfriend. That's his name?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so. Yes.
The thing that I thought was interesting is that Marnie's sitting there and she is just like being...
She's not even sitting at the table.
Yeah, like she's sitting apart from them and she's just like, this is useless. This whole party is pointless because my roommate's not here. She doesn't say that Jessa isn't here.
Yeah, because the party is for Jessa.
I thought it was for Jessa. Mm-hmm. Well, they say it afterwards, but like she was mad that her roommate wasn't there, and I was like, okay, like it's your roommate.
And that's when the line comes about. It's like she's probably with that animal.
Yeah,
I know exactly where she is. She's with that animal. I'm like, dang, dude, that was a little harsh.
Do you think Marnie sleeps with Adam Driver at any point?
No, I mean she's too hot for him. He's like weirdo.
Yeah, but it's not like weirdos don't sleep with hot women and like weird stuff happens all the time.
No. I'm speaking from experience.
All right, we're gonna pause the
podcast. Edit that part.
But no. So then,
I don't think that she does.
You don't think she does? Okay.
I don't even think, honestly, I don't think Adam Driver lasts the entire series. Like,
I don't think he lasts the entire series.
I think he exits part through and then like comes back. Maybe it's like, he's turned a corner.
I mean, if they're doing a little Mr. Big Sex and the City style thing, he'll pop in. He'll pop in when things need to get a little mixed up.
Yeah. But I don't think that I don't think she sleeps with him.
Yeah, I'm just throwing out a wild card.
Yeah, but. So yeah, then the British lady finally shows up to her party.
Yeah, Jessa.
And then I don't know, nothing.
Yeah, when
really...
Jessa showed up, I thought it was the other girl, Shoshana, showing up.
Yeah,
because I really at that point still didn't realize this party was for Jessa.
I didn't either.
We must have missed something. But anyway, she shows up. They're hanging out. What happened before Lena Dunham's character shows up? Like she goes up, she's hanging out.
Still with Adam Driver. They're sitting on the couch with the blanket across their genitals.
She's the most unconvincing. Oh, I'm late for.
Yeah, she goes, "What time is it?" And he said 5:00. And then she laughs like that was the most hilarious joke ever. And then she goes, "No, really, what time is it?" And he says 9:45. And then she just looks at him and goes, "Oh my God, I'm so late for that dinner party."
Normally when that happens in like shows, people get up and like start like grabbing bags and having to talk while they get ready to go. She was just like...
Adam Driver got up before she did.
Yeah.
She was just sitting there like, "Oh, well, I guess I'm late." So then she shows up.
And what's happening before she gets there? Because I know Jessa's saying something.
She's talking to the... Wait, no, that was after.
They're all on the couch. They're all on the couches coupled up, and she's sitting next to Charlie. It's Marnie, Charlie, and then Jess on the couch. And then on another couch is Charlie's friend and girlfriend. And they're just saying something before. There's some conversation I can't remember.
I don't think it's very consequent. I don't remember that happening really at all.
Yeah.
And then Hannah shows up.
She's surprised at her.
Yeah, and she's like, she walks in, and this is her apology. She's just like, "I'm so sorry. I'm so late." The most monotonous, convincing. Like, if I heard that, I'd be like, go fuck yourself.
Did they order food, or did Marnie make that dinner? Because we don't really see them eating.
You don't see them making food. You don't see them whatever.
For you, it's great because you don't get a chance to see anybody eat.
Yeah, no one's eating. Thank God. And then I don't know what else happens really until the opium part.
Yeah, they come in and then
they're trying to convince her to, like, you know, the guy that's cooking opium is like, fuck that, you should still be getting money from your parents and all this shit. And
no, it's a McDonald's conversation.
Right.
He's like, oh, I'm gonna have to end up working at McDonald's.
It's like, dude,
do it.
I lived in New York right after I graduated college. I worked in restaurants, and I was able to afford my rent. Yeah. You also don't need to live in a super expensive place either.
Yeah. I don't even know what Marnie does at this point.
Yeah, what does Marnie do?
No, we just know that she's smart.
Yeah,
said it to him on the
she's
bedroom.
like the paragon of good advice, but she has like a terrible life herself.
Yeah,
like she doesn't like a relationship or whatever. One of those characters.
We don't know what she does yet, and I don't know what price they are. I don't know where they're in Brooklyn.
Yeah, they're in Brooklyn somewhere.
So I don't know. Like, you're not gonna find a cheaper place in 2012, really.
The guy's McDonald's speech was pretty convincing until she retorts with, "Yeah, but then I'd have to work at McDonald's," and I was like, "Good point."
The best good point. But I went to college.
Yeah, but I went to college, and he was like, "Yeah, so what? So did I."
Yeah, I loved it. I love that McDonald's speech because it's like, you know,
dude, sometimes you have to do shit that you don't want to do. There are sacrifices that you have to make, and it seems like she doesn't realize that, and she hasn't had to deal with that.
Well, yeah, and it's one thing, like, she can, like, I know if I, like, had to work at McDonald's, like, right now, I'd be like, oh, that's not a good move. But I could see her, like, I'm sure the next episode we'll probably get into her actually trying to find jobs. Like, I was really happy when she lost the internship, so we didn't have to deal with her at the internship pleading and trying to hustle up for episodes. Like, I'm interested to see what she ended up doing next, because the parents are cutting her off.
Yeah,
which is,
the parents have put their foot down.
Yeah, so like she is out there off like on a limb, and no one's gonna really. She doesn't have a safety net, which I think the whole point of the setup of the pilot is like, here you are, you're this person that you are in the show, and you have no safety net. Let's see you do it. And that was, I feel like that was me in my 20s in Brooklyn, like that, because I lived in Williamsburg after college, and like, but like I didn't have the parent support just because they couldn't afford to pay for what they had to pay for in New York.
Exactly.
But like she has that luxury, and it's being pulled away from her.
Yeah.
And it's just like your 20s in Brooklyn, like you can live in New York cheap. I always say that to people. You can live in New York cheaper than I think you can in LA. Like,
really, you think so?
Absolutely. Like I mean, I had no money when I was in New
Just
York,
dollar
and like
slices
you're always out. Like you're always out. Like the bar culture's so open. Like there's always a rooftop party. Like there's stuff.
Well, that's the thing is like her first. I know it was like her being dramatic, but her first go-to was like, I'm gonna have to work at McDonald's. But there's like no shame in being a waiter or a waitress, like because that's what I did for a couple years, and I was like freelance writing on the side. Yeah. And doing comedy. Yeah.
I feel like that's what she's gonna get into.
Yeah, I mean, she better.
Yeah. But I feel like they had to make her character, because that's her character. Her character's not gonna
spoiled brat.
Yeah, her character's not gonna go from like having that comfort.
Yeah.
Living with these roommates and then being like, oh, I work at McDonald's.
But she has to know people that do that, because she's like a writer.
No, but like she'll know people that waiter, but no one in the fast food industry.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know anyone that works in the fast food industry. Yeah.
What you say? I don't know anyone that works in the fast.
The entitlement coming up.
I'm not a loser. These people on the show are losers.
Okay.
Anyway,
so the guy cooks up opium.
Yeah.
Lena Dunham takes opium, and then she gets pep talks from Marnie and Jessa.
Yeah.
And they're both like very conflicting.
And they're sitting on either side of her, like devil and angel on shoulder situation. And Marnie's making points. She's just like, get a job. And the other one's like, hey, you're an artist, be an artist. And I think that is going to be the conflict of the show, and like which is a conflict for everybody. For real. Like if you're in the creative,
yes.
If you're, like Yeah.
So she's all hopped up on opium, and she's like, I got it. And then she just leaves, and then nobody stops her. No one's like, hey, maybe you shouldn't do whatever you're about to do. You're on opium.
Yeah.
Oh, and then there's that fucking stupid-ass scene where she's like, this doesn't taste like Twix.
Well, that was before that.
Yeah, that was before that. But, like, he said twigs, obviously. If you misheard Twix.
I did love, though, my favorite part of that moment.
Nothing tastes like Twix except for Twix.
Well, my favorite part is when she tastes it, she spits it out because it doesn't taste like Twix. And then he's like, no, I said twigs. And then she's like, oh, okay. And then just continue drinking it.
I think that was the most accurate thing
that
happened in that show, like, because tea does taste like twigs. So then she hops up on opium. She runs out into the world. And then Marty and Jessa have an argument while Jessa's... Oh, I just poked myself in the eye with my glasses.
I don't know why you're taking glasses on and off. As if you're, like, reading through a booklet of notes.
I had to scratch my eyes, dude. Like, this show is something else. I just took them off again. I don't know. It hurt my ears, the headphones.
You're making a lot of dramatic moves.
Yeah, so Jessa's taking a pee, and then Marnie's, like...
Well, first she goes to the parents.
Yeah.
And she goes to the parents and she's like, hey, I want to see you guys before I left. You can obviously see she's high at this point. Yeah. And she hands them
her quote unquote book,
which is just like maybe
5
10 loose leaf pages. And then she's like, oh, we'll read this on the plane. She's like, no, read it now. And she sits there while they start reading it. Mm-hmm. And then we cut back to Marnie, who's in the bathroom with Jessa. Jessa's on the toilet. Marnie standing over, saying it was
irresponsible of you to do that, and like you should have. And then she's like, maybe you should just like stop mommying her, which like
she's a mother hen. She's a mother.
She's mommying her.
Yeah. But she also brought up a good point. She has to be. She's the responsible one, but being responsible makes her get in. Like I forget the exact line, but because she's the one that gives rational advice, she always gets shit on for the rational advice. Yeah. As opposed to like, oh, okay, that is rational. I would like to do it this way. He's like, no, you're just a stick in the mud.
Yeah. So then Charlie walks in. He's high as balls. And he's just like, you two are angels or whatever. And then they're like, get out of here. He leaves.
Charlie's got a bathroom thing, man.
Yeah, he really likes that kind of stuff. And then Marnie gives Jessa some toilet paper. Like, she unrolls it for her. Yeah, that was the weirdest shit.
But it's just showing that she's just that, like, mother hen person that she's going to be like...
Yeah, so then we cut back.
But she was... No. But Marnie was mad that Jessa showed up super late to her own dinner party. Yeah. And then it's revealed that Jessa tells her that she's pregnant,
which I don't believe. I think she was only saying that to get sympathy from her as like an excuse to pivot away from her being late. I don't believe that she's pregnant for a second.
I didn't doubt the pregnancy when she said it, but I thought it was interesting that would be the excuse for lateness.
Wait a minute. Yeah.
What did being pregnant have to do with you being 3 hours late? It's like you didn't have a kid that you had in a stroller that you had to push down the subway.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
It's like,
that's a terrible excuse.
It's a terrible excuse.
Yeah, and then also her whole thing of like, I thought dinner would start at 10.
Yeah.
Who eats dinner at 10?
Like they were making like in Argentina they like eat dinner late and like Spain and stuff. But we know you have food issues. You're not gonna handle the food situation.
They didn't eat anymore.
Yeah. But no. So that was her argument at first.
Yeah.
And then the next thing is,
I'm pregnant.
So I could see
and then Marge's like, on purpose. What do you think? That was like the best line. That was my favorite line from the show. I think. What do you think?
Yeah.
She's on the toilet with another person staring at her. What do you think?
And then we go back.
Cut back to Marnie with her parents who are finished reading her book. And then she's like, see, isn't it good? And they're like, yeah, it is pretty good, actually. Yeah. And then she's like, all right, I only need $1,100 a month for 2 years. And it's just like...
The 2 years was the big cap for me. The 1,100 was
I was like 11...
I feel like if she said for 6 months, her parents could have like maybe...
Even 2 months while she's looking for a job.
But the best part is the dad is like, that sounds reasonable. And the mom's like, not at all.
Yeah,
Like, at
dude,
the same
that's so
time.
unreasonable. That is so. And she's like, I could live for $1,100 a month for 2 months or a month. I could be really thrifty. It's like, or you could get a job.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. Like, what's easier, getting a job or getting your parents to do what they've been doing? Like, that's obviously you're gonna like exhaust that. You're gonna plead. And she mentioned like in the first opening scene, I could be on drugs or something.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And then like the last
My
scene,
friend had 2 abortions.
Yeah. So in the last scene and a half, we got a person that's pregnant, and the friend, and then we have her with the.
Wait, was she talking about her in the opening scene? Was she talking about Jessa?
I don't think she was talking
might have
about.
been.
I don't think she was talking about people, and she
might have been.
I think she was just making a comment about like people in their 20s and like just like as a parent, you're lucky your kid isn't on drugs or pregnant.
Yeah.
I think she was just making that excuse like, I'm not a bad person.
Yeah.
I'm not drugs or pregnant. And then she shows up, she's on opium, she passes out. Or whatever.
Passes out.
She falls
She's being
over.
Very
and they're
over
arguing.
dramatic. I don't even think that she was that high. I think she was just being way too dramatic.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it just and the
And her
dad was
parents
like,
are
she's fine.
arguing.
The mom's line about like, I work hard. I want a lake house.
Yeah.
Made you like lose all sympathy.
Well, that's
Like
what.
not full sympathy for the mom, but it's just like, wait, is
That's
your
not
argument that you want something too now? Like,
See,
why not?
You brought up a good point while we're watching it, is that they're both professors staying at the Warwick. They've been supporting their daughter for 2 years. Who knows how much money it was a month.
Like they're not hurting for cash. They just want more expendable cash.
Yeah, I
it
mean,
looks
but
like.
also, you know,
I mean, I feel like at a point,
24 years old.
but I felt like
though.
at a point as a parent, you're gonna want them to start fending for themselves.
Exactly.
But you're also gonna still support them a little bit. Like
Yeah.
parents give what they can give. Like
Yeah,
my parents
currently-
could never give me like that the amount of money it would cost to live.
I don't think so.
Yeah, like that. But if I like needed like $500 for this or something like that, like for a one-time thing, not like a monthly stipend.
Yeah.
Like here's some money that
So
you could have.
here we go. I'm 29.
Yeah.
My parents still support me in ways that, like, for my birthday, all I ask them for is just to pay for my gym membership, and that's like
Yeah.
$200 a year.
Yeah.
And that's like, okay. And then you don't have to get me anything for my birthday.
Yeah.
That's whatever. Like, they support me that way. And I know that that probably is, even me saying that, it makes me sound like a spoiled person to some people.
Yeah.
But your parents are there to support you. But I feel like it's more of like a break glass in case of emergency kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
And like even little things like the gym membership.
Yeah.
But like to support your entire life, like your rent, your all your other expenses, your food, all this stuff. It's like,
And I won't even like argue against like I wish I was like a trust fund kid. Like I don't care about like, but you want to understand the real world and you want to I've experienced the real world and I don't necessarily like it. I would love to just have like financial security based off of whatever your parents did. Like, so I don't blame people for just like, it's one of those things where like if you're living off your parents, but like you've realized, like it's just that understanding, which I think is hard to have that self-awareness of like, oh, not everyone has this.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's the only thing you have to figure out. You have to be like, okay, this is how. And I think people like shows like this and like shows like Gossip Girl and like Entourage stuff because they like that fantasy of like, oh, if I had all this money and I was doing this.
Yeah,
and I
but this
lived in
show
this.
is like the opposite of that.
This is trying to show like people from that. Because I went to like high school with people like that. Parents had tons of money and stuff like that, but then they still would like have to deal with like their parents wouldn't just like feed them money when they were out of college. They would still work or like if they're in med school or if they're like doing whatever that summer, they're still doing random jobs and like just living. But they don't have. But they know like she knows that no matter what happens, like if she really fell out.
Her parents will bail her out.
She probably could bail out or just move back home.
with her, yeah.
Or wherever, and we don't even know exactly where they're from, do we?
If they did, I didn't hear it.
Yeah, because they're flying wherever.
Yeah, they're staying in the Warwick Hotel.
Was it the Warwick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so you brought up a good point. Like, I know the struggle of trying to fend for yourself in New York. I don't know the struggle of being a trust fund kid and then having all of that taken away from you. So
Yes.
I don't have us coming from the background that we do.
Yeah.
I don't have sympathy. It's hard for me to have sympathy for someone that's been supported
Yeah.
like that for so much and spoiled like that for so long.
Yeah.
But I do understand that it would be incredibly jarring, and
Yeah.
it probably is very hard.
Yeah.
But it's hard to have sympathy.
It's hard. It's hard to like fully relate to it from that. But you have to like put yourself in a thing of as if like you just like lost. Like for them, that's like her losing her job.
Yeah.
Because them supporting her allowed her to do the internship.
Yeah.
Like I used to work at Vice, like, and a lot of those people there were a lot of like trust fund kids because they were like be interning and then end up producing, and it was just like the whole place was full of people that were like we would have to be like, hey, when are we getting paid for stuff, you know? And like I'm like, I need to get paid, and other people are like, yeah, whatever, having a party,
whenever, take your time.
Yeah.
It's like, no,
And
do
it's just
not
like
take
that's
your
what
time.
Vice used to be like before it like became what it is now. But
So anyway, she has her drug freak out, and then she wakes up alone in bed. Her parents have left. The very first thing that she does is she calls the downstairs and tries to order room service, still grasping at the teat, and then they're like, you can't get room service.
Yeah.
So then she walks over to put her clothes on, and then there's 2 envelopes left, one for her and one for housekeeping.
Yeah.
And she just jacks the money from the housekeeping people.
And I gotta say, was it 2 20s? Was it
was
a
2
20?
20s.
It was a 20 in Hannah's envelope and a 20 in the housekeeping envelope. Now, I think that's a little cheap for the housekeeping, considering they've been there for probably a couple days now at this point.
Okay. I don't really know. What's the proper amount to tip housekeeping?
I don't fully...
I don't understand it.
Housekeeping is kind of like a per day kind of thing, and like you have to think about like how often you had them clean. Like when I stay at a hotel, we don't usually we usually have like do not disturb on the thing. Like we don't have them come every day and like make the bed and stuff. You know, like depending on how long you stay there. Sometimes we're like, oh, this is messy. We'll go out for the day. They'll clean it, come back.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking you would at least leave 50.
All right.
For the Warwick.
I don't know. I don't know anything about that. I don't travel.
I just don't
when
think.
I do, I stay at Airbnbs.
I just don't think you're leaving 20 in it. Anyway.
Well, either way, she got 0 because she jacked it.
20.
She jacked
I wonder if she left the envelope that just said housekeeping too, because it looks like she took the.
It did
20
look
out
like she just
and
left the envelope.
So it looks like her parents like left an empty housekeeping envelope.
Yeah. And then the last scene, and I wrote this down because this was the most. This last scene sums up exactly what this show is to me.
Okay.
She walks out into traffic. She does not have the right of way. There's a car turning. She puts her hand out to like stop it, and then just keeps walking. And I was like, the privilege of that walk where she doesn't have the right of way.
For some reason, it had the weird upbeat. Of like a Mary Tyler Moore like walking out like I'm a girl in the city now. It was so strange because she just found out her parents have left her with $20.
Yeah.
She's walking home. She just did drugs in front of her parents. Her friends don't like her, so her friends aren't mad at her. So that's fine. And she doesn't have a job anymore. And she's leaving and walking as if like, all right, everything's
the world
wonderful.
on a string.
Yeah, and I was just like, wait, what? Like it just felt like, she'll be fine. That's what it felt like. It felt like she'll be fine.
Well, I think it has to have that because like this is the beginning of the rest of her life. Like her life is forever changed now.
Yeah, but you can have it be like all right, what's next kind of ending.
Yeah,
it wasn't like what's next. It was like, oh, she's fine. Like if there was never another episode, I'm like, oh no, she's good.
Yeah.
She's got $40 in her pocket. She's good to go. $40.
Yeah,
$40 in a dream, baby.
Like 2 seconds ago, she was talking to her friends about like I can live here for maybe 3 more days, 7 days if I skip lunch.
Yes. I'm gonna have to work at McDonald's. Nothing has changed from her doing opium and passing out in the hotel room.
Yeah. So that's episode 1, everybody. That is the pilot.
Do we have any other notes that stuck out?
Do you? I think I covered everything that I could think of.
Nope. I'm looking.
Overall thoughts after episode 1?
I'm intrigued to see like once they get into their flow, because I feel like this is like the pilots are always tricky.
Pilots are always hard because you have to introduce characters, which they didn't.
We still don't. The poster has 4 girls sitting next to each other. All 4 of them were never in the same room together.
Yep.
So I'm interested to see where. What did you call her? Not the Shoshana's character. What did you call her? Not.
The ditzy one?
The
Jessa?
ditzy, yeah, the ditzy.
Yeah, the ditzy
I'm
one.
interested
Shoshana.
I'm interested to see how she fits in with the whole flow of the
Yeah,
thing.
because as of yet, she doesn't fit in. She just the cousin of the British girl. And
Yeah,
then
like
that's
it was comic relief almost. So
Yeah.
I'm interested to see when the 4 of them get together, what happens.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens, especially in the next episode, because episode 2, titled "Vagina Panic."
Yeah. Oh, well, it just writes itself.
I'm going to be looking forward to that. All right. Well, this has been Boys Watching Girls. Stay tuned for the next episode. I've been Joe Welke.
I'm Vance Tucker.
All right. Talk to you guys later.